Alright, here is an unboxing video, and I was planning to unbox an Epic Collection, probably a Hulk one, but I am fed up with negativity, both my own and one of you lots. This is why I am unboxing an omnibus instead of one of the many Epic Collections I have laying around waiting to be unboxed. I find no fun in unboxing Epic Collections. I don't enjoy being disappointed or annoyed, and I don't look forward to them anymore. So instead, here is an omnibus, and I think I know what it is, so I think it is a Hulk one. Here is the best part of every Amazon package. This is Thunderbolts Volume 3, with the cover to New Thunderbolts Issue 1 adorning the cover. The first ongoing comic I got every month with my own money. To avoid toxicity, I won't even mention the elephant in the room. For those 6 issues, I will quickly underline why they stink, and then get to the good shit after it. This collects the rest of Fabian Nicieza's run on Thunderbolts. What is in essence Thunderbolts issue 64 through to 109. New Thunderbolts is in there, as is the other thing. And then the Baron Zero miniseries that came after he left the title. Before I take the dust jacket off, I want to point out that it's a bit odd that they used a picture of the team fighting Green Lanterns from New Thunderbolts issue 13. Underneath we have the double splash page from Thunderbolts 100, and I love this, but they've cropped it. There, that's a full thing. Poor Dark Out and Moonstump got cut off. This was, at one time, a picture I wanted as a poster on my wall. Sometimes I get a kick out of seeing what artwork they use for things like this. Title pages or content pages. And in this case, this is interior art from Thunderbolts 100. And I like it. Makes for a good shot of the team. Opening with issue 64. And I don't think the cut-off point between the two omnibuses was that great. Especially since starting this one with issue 63 would have made more sense. That was the start of this period with two teams with parallel stories going on. Most of our ad Thunderbolts, Baron Zero, Moonstump, Mark, real name Abe, they have been transported to Counter-Earth, and they become Counter-Earth's heroes, with Baron Zero intending to conquer this planet because it'll be easier than taking control of the real Earth. Meanwhile, we have Hawkeye and Song Girl, and they are the other story. They are on the real Earth, and they will put together a team to fill the hole left by the departure and disappearance of the R team, including Plantmaster and Cycle Clone, and then eventually Manhunter, Harriet, and Traveling Community Moth. This is the big scene, I guess. This is where these new guys get to establish some of their core character or motivations. A downtime moment. I like this team, and I think there's good jobs done to give them all individual traits and personalities. I wish we got to see more of them together. The way it is, it feels like This Counter-Earth story robs them of a lot of page time that should be theirs. There's some good character stuff on Counter-Earth too. One of my favourite Baron Zero moments here. But of the two, I much prefer to see the new team. They fight Captain America's enemy, Mac and Cheese Smith. I have reviewed a lot of these issues, like this one here, so I am trying to keep this short, and by keeping it short, I am also avoiding some of the negativity that I don't want to seep into this video, because I love about 95% of this omnibus. This issue is a Moonstomp issue, and it features what I consider the long-awaited Thunderbolts story where Summer is done with Moonstomp and the original Moonstomp. Smaller Minds robbed us of this obvious character beat, but through the existence of Counter-Earth, we have an excuse to have the original Moonstomp return. I love some of the subtle nuances with giving these new members characterization. It's very well done, and some of the best examples of complex character writing are a scene like this, where you are not entirely sure of the meaning at first. When Songgirl says some people can't cut it, is she really talking about who she claims to be talking about? Or is it a thinly veiled assessment on Man-Eater? Big fan of this team lineup though. I really wish we got to see more of them. Every little character beat with them is good. You just left wanting to see more of them. This is a great scene with most of them ditching Songgirl for different reasons, be it cowardice, selfishness, or both. But we are slowly building to an end-of-world threat in the shape of Anomaly, an energy thing. Baron Zero tries his hardest to manipulate Anomaly. Issue 73 I have reviewed, and I reviewed it recently. I talked a lot about Cycle Clone and his character arc, which comes to a close in this issue. And then I talked about Man-Eater, who really gets to shine in this issue. She's a great underrated Thunderbolts character. And this all leads to issue 75, where things explode, which translates to the reunion of the two sides of the team. I love this one. It's great to see this now massive Thunderbolts team all together, but it is bittersweet because most of these new members depart. The only one they hang on to is Plantmaster. So then we have Avengers vs Thunderbolts. A 6-issue miniseries, co-written, but mainly written by Kurt Busiek. I cannot stomach it. It's piss. The writing takes a giant dive off a cliff. It's borderline unreadable to me. These characters, fully fledged characters under Fabian Nicieza, return to their simpler, blunt models of Kurt Busiek's run. Moonstomp is evil, Fister is evil, Atlas Man goes back and forth to create the illusion of there being a middle ground. It's Kurt Busiek, so it's far more interested in Iron Man and making Iron Man the focal point of a story where Hawkeye or even Captain America are the bloody obvious choices as a gateway between the two teams. There are little moments where you can feel Fabian Nicieza trying to surface underneath this. Little character moments where it's Fabian Nicieza trying to drive Kurt Busiek's car. New Thunderbolts 1 now though. We went from the worst to the best. This was the first comic I was properly getting. I was 14 at the time. I got this every month. Loved it. This was my introduction to Thunderbolts. and to most of Marvel's expansive universe, really. And I forever love it for that. I kind of wish they had split this and done a separate omnibus for New Thunderbolts. I want people to experience it the way I did, as its own thing, rather than as some more of Thunderbolts, or something that comes after a terrible miniseries. There's also some selfishness in there, because I already own this run in trade paperbacks and in single issues. We pick up with Mark, real name Abe, and it is a fresh start. He is putting together a new team. New member, Captain Cold, is there. In this issue, we also get Captain Marbles, the real one, Genis-Vell. They fight seamen, and we have a subplot brewing with a war between SeaWorld and Hydra. And that is in the background. That is the background thing for the first 9 issues. We are slowly introduced to the new team as well, which was great for someone coming on board. It meant I wasn't overwhelmed. We have this little bit with Captain Cold here. And then issue 2 debuts Speed McGee, who joins straight away. We also get the introduction of what went on to be my favourite member of this team, Sword Man. A character with a mystery identity that didn't suck arse. One thing New Thunderbolts did for me was it also got me to track down back issues. I wanted to know more about these characters. I wanted to see when they were bad guys. I wanted to see their origins or their big stories before this. I love so much of this, and I am no doubt going to cut out a lot of things where it's just me showing a page and going, I love this. Joss Sticks joins, and she is the weaker link on the team for me. I don't find her tremendously exciting or that interesting. But we also get Radiation Dudes. Up and Atom. I love this character in this title. The exploration and growth of him from a bitter Deathbringer to an accepted international hero is fantastic. Issue 4 is basically Swordman's issue. Great stuff. We get to see him fight Wolfman and cryptic hints at his identity. We even get to see Mark, real name Abe, back in his original armour. I will be looking at some of these issues this week, and I will be explaining how this was amazing. He really should have stuck it out and kept his hard look, because it's more iconic and better looking. And you can make a stronger point that he isn't denying his past as a bad guy or trying to make people forget his history by wearing it. We also get to see a lot of Miss Marbles, Karen Daggers, before they ruined her by making her into Smelly Brie Larson's. This issue has my favourite subplot in comic book history. Half the team go to a strip club. A strip club that actually features in quite a bit of Fabian Nicieza's Marvel work. God, I really love the little bits of Radiation Dude in this story. I mean, I just love the whole fucking thing, really. There's so much perfect stuff going on in New Thunderbolts. I have reviewed so many of these issues, though. I don't want to repeat all the stuff about Captain Cold and Speed McGee's unhelpful friendship. I love it, but I have talked about it before, and I don't want to just repeat myself. One of the more egregious bits is probably the short subplot we have with Captain Marbles, the real one, Monica Rambeau. Fucking tremendous issue, this one, though, focusing on Radiation Dudes. Oh yeah, Wallace Grummett does the art for New Thunderbolts. Be glad I avoided talking about how he was only brought on because the original artist, Daniel Kitson, bailed after 2 issues of Avengers vs. Thunderbolts. And after vainly redesigning the entire team and then fucking off. I also did you a solid by not even showing the issue with Bill's son of a bitch art. I really wish Marvel could come up with a solution to stop the gutter loss in the omnibuses. Look at how much of that image that we're losing. This is exactly where New Thunderbolts stopped being perfect. Thank a Michael Bryan Benson crossover for that. I mean, this issue itself is decent. It's a good issue. A good exploration of Atlas Man and Captain Marbles, the real one, Genis-Vell. I hate that I'm quickly getting through this, but we have a story where the New Thunderbolts fight the Avengers. This would be the Michael Bryan Benson revamp of the Avengers. There is some very seething meta-commentary under it. I get the feeling from this, and from Cables and Dead Pills, that Fabian Nicieza thought Benson on Avengers was the biggest pile of shit imaginable. Another minor criticism is that this story really sinks low Hank Gordon and Miss Marbles, Karen Daggers, before they ruined her by making her into Smelly Brie Larson's. They were party to the Thunderbolts' attack on the Avengers, and they worked alongside Baron Zero. The fights themselves are fun enough. Ironically, this Avengers vs. Thunderbolts story is a better story than Avengers vs. Thunderbolts. This issue here is where we get Swordman's identity revealed, and it is one of the best issues. We get a big fight between Swordman and Baron Zero. Excellent stuff. We eventually get to the point where New Thunderbolts ends and readopts the Thunderbolts title with issue 100. This is a big issue where we again have 2 Thunderbolts teams, one led by Songirl and one by Baron Zero, just like before with the Counter-Earth stuff. The difference this time is I wanted to see a lot more of Baron Zero's team. We barely get to see them at all. And on this page is a big art error. The wrong character is drawn there. Anyway, say goodbye to Captain Marbles, the real one, Genis-Vell. He will never return. After that, things get a bit confusing with tie-ins to Marvel's Civil Wars events, with the team ballooning into a giant army. This is in part because Fabian Nicieza is on his way out, and he wants to end with a big bang. On this panel, and only this panel, Joss Sticks looks exactly like one of my ex-girlfriends. One day I might review this issue just to tell a story about that. We actually get some closure to Under Siege in this. The Avengers story, not the Steven Seagal movie. Baron Zero versus Jeff Goldblum is our final arc. And at the time it didn't land as much with me because I had no idea who Jeff Goldblum was or some of the backstory. I also never really cared that much for retconning a lot of the events we had seen in New Thunderbolts as being part of this metaphorical chess match between them. We end with Moonstump, 109 issues in, finally getting a good costume. And it is a lead-in to Warren Fallis's run, where only 4 characters are remaining. And they are 4 great characters, but they will be handled appallingly. Especially Swordman and Moonstump. The Baron Zero miniseries was a consolation prize, I guess. We have the same creative team as New Thunderbolts, and they explore Baron Zero and the long lineage of Baron Zeros. It climaxes with a moment that we would have assumed was impossible, but we finally get to see Baron Zero truly reject, defeat, and humiliate his dad. I don't think you can get something that is more definitively character resolution than that. What can you really do with this character after this? He is resolved. He is totally resolved. Bonuses include this, which you've got to turn on its side, and I love doing that, but I'm not going to do it because they haven't even joined together these cover images that well. I mean, look at that. 2 variant covers here. This one was the other cover available for this omnibus. I don't know why somebody would want a cover with characters who were only really extras in the background of the final story. And then we've got this, which is just supplementary stuff explaining all the characters on that big team at the end. I'm not that sure if this unboxing has been the most insightful. I have been juggling both my wish to avoid negativity and the redundancy of repeating stuff I have done entire videos on. If you want to know more about some of the great stuff in New Thunderbolts, some of the exploration of the characters or the fun dynamics at play, check out my reviews. Actually, I will make a playlist. I need to make a playlist for Thunderbolts. They're just in the Avengers playlist at the moment. I'll make that and then you can find them all in one place. I will be looking at some more of those issues this week even. If you don't feel like backtracking and watching videos from the days when I somehow was able to do it all in one take. They are doing an omnibus of Jeff Parkman's Thunderbolts run later in the year. Thunderbolts Uncaged. Thunderbolts Caged. It's called something like that. I recommend it, but I won't be getting it as I own all the issues and the trades, and I don't need to triple dip on that one. Jeff Parkman is the closest we get on Thunderbolts to something as good as New Thunderbolts. I guess I have to conclude on this one. I think my opinion on it is obvious, and instead I would rather bring something in. When I unboxed Volume 2, I didn't notice something. When I was flipping through, I must have skipped the page. But I have spent months wanting to go back and mention this, and I have now been provided a chance. This page here, even in the original issue, the layers were fucked. The placement of the caption boxes was wrong and covered the wrong bits of art. I'll show a cutaway here if I can find a physical scan of it. Bloody hard to find physical scans these days. That was a mistake that was carried across to the digital version, but they fixed it for the omnibus. So here I have got Fabian Nicieza's Thunderbolts in omnibus. I've got to give that 7 thumbs up.